From the studios of the Performance Motorsports Network, bringing you the fastest 60 minutes in racing. It's Burning Rubber Radio.
Burning rubber, baby.
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 Burning rubber, baby. Burning rubber, baby.
Now, here are your hosts.
Hey everyone, that's right. It's Burning Rubber Radio and Burning Rubber, baby. I'm Andy DeLay. Here we are, ready to kick off the new and improved Burning Rubber Radio. That's right. I want to thank Candace Smith and Ronnie Crate Payne for all the great time that they spent with me on Burning Rubber Radio, and that's us Bob Steele too, who's still with us. He's just on vacation. I want to welcome back my good buddy, the guy with the long blonde ponytails. That's right, Mr. Charles Robinson. How are you doing, Big C?
Oh man, I'm doing fantastic. I've been working on my do a little bit. My little locks are flopping. It's just, it's all good.
Yeah, that's right. Charles Robinson's back in the fold here, folks. And of course, we have someone that's been with the show before. That's Dirty Dan Smith. Welcome back, Dan.
What's up?
Hey, nothing much. And folks, we have somebody that's out there. I hate to say tearing it up because it sounds like they're wrecking, but she's blazing out there in the Midwest and her race cars, and that is Miss Emily Gotti. Welcome to Burning Rubber Radio, Emily.
It's nice to be back here. I was on the show, about a year ago, and I'm glad to be back here full time.
Well, that's right, and we are welcome. We're happy to have you on the show with us here in Burning Rubber Radio, and it's going to be great, folks. We're going to kind of shift gears a little bit, refocus the show. We're going to get back to throwing pizza and being stupid, except for Emily, that is. She'll never be stupid. And anyway, I tell you what, second gear here, what we got going on tonight, we got a great show for you. That is, thank you, Mr. Dan Smith, who went out and rounded up a few great folks. We got some folks here. Number one, we have somebody from the NASCAR Nationwide Series, and who would that be, Mr. Dan Smith?
We got the always awesome Mr. Ryan Reed coming off that strong run at Richmond Friday night.
That's right, folks. I do believe you finished 9th in that, Dan, right?
Yeah, I believe that's correct.
Right, that's right, here on Burning Rubber Radio, top 10, folks. And then, Dan, man, you went out and did it again. You found somebody from, what series was that?
This is a personal friend of mine, and he runs USAC National Dirt Series, midgets, the Honda National Dirt Series for USAC, and he's running some sprint cars. He's made a Silver Crown debut, but it's pretty hot in USAC right now. Mr. Christopher Bell is going to be with us tonight.
And folks, we're going to change up a little bit. We have been talking to just folks really exclusively from the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. We're going to try to change some stuff here. We're going to talk to some folks from USAC. We're going to talk to some of the grassroots folks out there, and we're going to get a hold of some of Emily's friends and talk all about that. We're going to kind of broaden our horizons here a little bit. And I'm all excited to have Charles Robinson back at the helm of these interviews. Charles, man, welcome back again, buddy.
Oh man, well, it's good to be back. And of course, we know we all had to bring some talent back somewhere. So, that's my job.
Oh, I missed all that stuff. No pizza for you.
I love it.
So, anyway, Dan, we got a lot to do. We're going to talk iRacing tonight. Of course, I whipped you and Charles' ass both at where was that? Somewhere Okinawa or something like Japan. Anyway, we're going to talk about that this weekend. Tonight. All kinds of good stuff. This coming up weekend, of course, is going to be the first run in the Chase. We'll be talking about that. Looking forward to that. And, of course, we're going to talk about NASCAR's great performance at Richmond this weekend. All of that good stuff right here on Burning Rubber Radio. Everybody hang out. We're going to be right back after this break right here.
You're listening to Burning Rubber Radio. And now back to the iRacing god, well, at least in his own mind, Andy DeLay and his cast of crazies.
Welcome back, folks. Thanks for hanging around. We're here with Burning Rubber Radio and the new crew, Andy DeLay, Dan Smith, Emily Gotti, and the one and only hairless wonder himself, Mr. Charles Robinson. I am so happy to have all of you back here with Burning Rubber Radio. But right now it's time to shift into gear. We got to thank iRacing.com for all of the cool stuff they let us do here on Burning Rubber Radio. And Dan, step on to the table here, buddy. Let's talk about me kicking your ass in the caddies this past weekend.
That's a literal statement from you, because you can't seem to quit ramming your front bumper up the ass end of my car. It seems like.
Slow car, get out of the way of the fast car. When you see the little blue flag with the yellow thing diagonally
What the hell are
across,
you
hold on.
talking about? There ain't
Emily.
no blue flag with a yellow stripe.
Yeah, it is. The blue flag means you're getting lapped. Get the hell out of the way.
Oh.
I was going to ask Emily about that blue flag, but I'm sure she never gets to see that since she's the one doing all the passing, right, Emily?
Yeah, I haven't seen that flag for a really long time, and I'm not going to complain about that.
Hey, Charles, real quick, man, talking about iRacing, sim racing, all of that good stuff. It's been a while since you've just really got back into it. I know you just got your G27 wheel, and you were just getting back into things. You are, of course, a multiple-time champion in the NASCAR 2003 Old Norca Racing League. What's up with you? How's it feel to be back into things, buddy?
Well, it feels great to get back into things. I wish, there's only one disadvantage of being kind of a seasoned veteran, getting out there in a lot of the open servers. You really don't have, I hate to say it, but you don't have much of a chance to build up your MPR or anything like that. But so far, I've managed to get mine up. I'm close to being promoted up to my license class, so hopefully that'll open up the doors at some different races where I can race with some people that don't hold up everybody, Dan Smith, and then, to get it out of the way.
Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. I see how this is going to go now. Speaking of iRacing, there is a lot, you touched on it, Charles, and I'm getting ready to fast track to my C license. Just a little patience, man. I know what you're saying about racing with a different group of people, that's for sure. I think you was one of those slow cars that kind of got run over too, wasn't you, Charles, Sunday?
No, actually, I was one of them cars that was sitting in the back and racing with you guys, door to door, just waiting to see which one of you spun out. And after you all three spun out, I went to the lead. Then the first thing I see, this 47 car comes across and knocks me out of the way, puts me back, so it leaves me and Andy to duel it out. And then I guess what's his name, Richardson, that races with us too. He was really missing his braking points, and he come through and he punted me, so knocked me off the track. But I said, okay, that's fine. Andy had about a 20-second lead. I said, I'm just going to keep on going. And sure enough, I let him spin out himself. And, I was running consistent lap times with Andy. It's just that I was so far back, I'd have never caught him.
Yeah, you were. And I tell you, folks, come on out. If you do iRacing, come on out. Check us out on the iRacing League. We are the Burning Rubber Radio League. Come join the league. We run Sundays at 5 p.m. You can have a good time. And I tell you what, if you get on the Burning Rubber Radio site, we're going to start giving all kinds of stuff away here on Burning Rubber Radio. Number one, if you get on there and just put a big capital letters, Burning Rubber, baby, I want to try iRacing, I'm going to give you 3 free months of iRacing. That's for the first person that does it. But right now, folks, we're going to kick on out of here, and we're going to move on to the next segment. We'll be right back after this.
It's Burning Rubber Radio, an excuse for the hosts to get out of the house on the weekends without having to explain to their wives, husbands, and girlfriends what they're really doing. Now, here are your hosts.
Hey, BRR Nation, this is Dirty Dan. Welcome back to Burning Rubber Radio. And a little background here, we're going to give you the Dirty Dan What's Up Wrap-Up Radio Edition, brought to you by Shell Shock Helmets. A little background on what this is. We scour the internet, we search social media, and we just find results from grassroots tracks all over the nation. This Dirty Dan What's Up Wrap-Up is released every Wednesday on the Burning Rubber Radio Facebook page, so get over there and check it out. Track promoters, PR people, racers, don't care who you are, man, your grassroots level, send a message to Dirty Dan over there on the Burning Rubber Radio Facebook page, and we will get your results put in the Facebook edition of Dirty Dan What's Up Wrap Up every Wednesday. We're going to take a look at a few things this week, so without further ado, let's get started. We're going to take a look at the USAC AMSOIL National Sprint Car Series. September 6th, they were at I-30 Speedway in Little Rock, Arkansas, where Brian Clausen picked up the win. September 7th, they were in Riverside International Speedway at West Memphis, Arkansas, where Double D, the People's Champ, picks up his 46th National Sprint Car win, tying him for second all-time with Jack Hewitt on that list. And he's only 6 behind Tom Bigelow, so I think we'll see a reset at the top of that list before long. What do you say, BRR Nation? Next up for the USAC AMSOIL National Sprint Car Series, September 14th, they'll be at Tri-State Speedway in Hopstad, Indiana. September 24th, they'll be at Eldora. Your top 5 in the USAC AMSOIL National Sprint Car Championship Double D, the People's Champ, Dave Darlin sits atop the board. BC Brian Clausen second, Brady Bacon third, Chase Stocking fourth, and KT Kevin Thomas Jr. sitting in fifth. Check out all the USAC Racing Series at www.usacracing.com. Hey, I want to give it, while we're here in the sprint car realm, I want to give a huge shout out to a guest. Actually, he's a guest on tonight's show, buddy, Christopher, the modern day Outlaw Bell. He made his return to the Sandusky Fairgrounds in Fremont, Ohio, to Fremont Speedway in the Rich Ferkel number 0 410 wing sprint car. And I'll tell you what, man, it was an emotional victory. He led all 30 laps for Tanks Meet Night, championship night there at Fremont, picked up the win. It was something special. I'm sure Chris will talk about it in his upcoming interview. Moving on, we're going to move on to the Robbie Gordon Speed Energies Stadium Super Truck Series. September 1st, they were in Crandon, Wisconsin, where Jarrett Brooks picked up the win. September 20th, 21st, 22nd, they'll be in Costa Mesa, California at the Sand Sports Super Show at the OC Fair and Event Center. Your top 5 after 10 of 14 rounds in that series is Rob McCachran, Robbie Gordon, our buddy Justin Lofton, PJ Jones, and Sheldon Creed. The big news for late model fans last weekend was the 43rd annual Dirt Car UMP sanctioned World 100 at the Big E Eldora Speedway. Our own Little Miss Dangerous, Emily Gotti, was there. I'm sure we'll talk to her later next week in the live video chat about her experiences there. But we'll start off with the heat races there. Heat race 1, J.R. Hotovy picks up the win. Heat 2, Brian Shirley. Heat 3, Jonathan Davenport. Heat 4, Daryl Lanigan. Heat 5, our man, and a guest on next week's Burning Rubber Radio, Bobby the Smooth Operator Pierce, picks up heat race number 5 win. Heat race number 6, Terry Phillips. B feature 1, Tyler Reddick. B feature 2, Scott Bloomquist. In the B Scramble 1, my buddy from over there in Ohio, Randy Weaver, picks up a win at the Big E during the World 100. In B Scramble 2, Morgan Bagley picked up a win. Moving on to the big feature race that paid $46,000 to the winner in his rocket chassis, 32-year-old John Blankenship out of Williamson, West Virginia, picked up the win. Second, Daryl Lanigan. Third, Scott Bloomquist. Fourth, in his first ever World 100, Bobby the Smooth Operator Pierce. Fifth, Josh Richards. Sixth, Terry Phillips. Seventh, Earl Pearson Jr. Eighth, Jonathan Davenport. Ninth, Jared Landers. 10th, Eddie Carrier Jr. You Jimmy Owens fans out there, he finished 24th with a DNF, and Tyler Reddick in 25th with a DNF. Little something that we do special, man. We just search out the internet, social media, and we pick out a local track of the week on Dirty Dan's What's Up Wrap Up. And for this radio edition, we're going to go back to my old stomping grounds, Montpelier Motor Speedway in Montpelier, Indiana. You can get all your information you need from there about that track at www.montpeliermotorspeedway.com. They got some big racing coming up Saturday, September 14th. They got a midget doubleheader going on, man. The MTQRL TQ Midget Series be there, along with the Montpelier Motor Speedway midgets. The UMP mods, Super Streets, Thunder Cars, front wheel drive compacts, general admissions $12, 12 and under free. Racing gets underway at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Your top 5 for the track championship there in the UMP mods: Todd Sherman, Tony Anderson, Jamie Lomax, Bill Lewis, and Jim Mallory. Your top 5 for the Montpelier Motor Speedway Track Championship in the Super Stocks. Or, yeah, Super Streets, they call them Super Stocks, Super Streets. You got to know Indiana racing, man. Your top 5 there is Tony Anderson, Josh Mallett, Luke Timmerman, Matt Kale, and Eric Manning. Moving on to the Montpelier Motor Speedway Season Championship for the Thunder Cars, you have Evan Turner, Ron Flau, Mike Oler, Caleb Nutter, and Gerald Owens is your top 5. The front-wheel drive compacts is Brandon McDavies, Katie Smith, Mark Yeager, Dalton Smith, and Brock Farmer, your top 5 in the front-wheel drive compacts. And in the Montpelier Motor Speedway Midget Series, your top 5 on the season is Billy Weiss, Blake Edwards, Stratton Briggs, Michael Coons, and Shane Hollingsworth. Back to the MTQRL TQ Midget Series. They've got 2 to go to decide their championship, and the top 5 there is Nick Spidell, Tate Martz, Brett Hankins, Bobby Walton, and Logan Arnold. That'll do it for the Dirty Dan What's Up wrap-up this week. Burning Rubber Radio Edition. Once again, you can check out the Dirty Dan What's Up wrap-up, brought to you by Shell Shock every Wednesday over on the Burning Rubber Radio Facebook page. And Track Promoters Racers, once again, send me a message over there on the Burning Rubber Facebook page to Dirty Dan, and I will do everything in my power to get your results or upcoming shows included in this little big deal. And we'll be you guys stay tuned. We got some killer guests here, and we'll be right back on Burning Rubber Radio after this short break.
Green, green, green. Pedal to the metal, baby.
Let's get back to Burning Rubber Radio.
Hey, that's right. You're here with Burning Rubber Radio. Don't touch that dial because it will shock the hell out of you. Anyway, that's right. Emily Gotti, Dan Smith, Charles Robinson. We are here to kick off our first interview of the night. And tonight we have someone that's been on Burning Rubber with us before, and someone we just think's awesome because he runs for a great cause. And he placed 9th in this past week's NASCAR Nationwide Series race at Richmond. Charles, this is all you. Tell us who we got.
I'll tell you what, folks, a lot of times we have drivers on here and stuff, but we also, too, have a lot that really touch your heart. And, of course, we've associated ourselves with not only Ryan Reed over the past year. We talked to him at Rockingham and stuff like that. But I'll tell you what, folks, he drives for an awesome, awesome, awesome awareness. I just got to let him explain it. Ryan, buddy, what's going on?
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on. I'm glad to be back. It's been a little while, but it's always fun to come on here and hang out with you guys.
Oh, no doubt. Of course, you got to remember now, when you're around the cooler and everything, just if it's got Andy on it, don't touch it, okay?
Yeah, 10-4. Yeah, I figured that.
But let's talk about the Richmond run now, buddy. You got out there, you laid the smack down on the short track, had a 9th place finish. Tell us a little bit about it, man. Tell us, just tell us what you're feeling out there.
Yeah, no, it was cool. I really liked Richmond. When I was there in the spring, it was my first time there, and I just seemed to take to it really well for whatever reason. That track really suits my driving style, and have a lot of fun there. And we were there in the spring, and we had a really good long run car. Doesn't have a whole lot of takeoff speed, but we seem to be one of the best cars out there. 30, 40 laps in. So and that's exactly how it was on Friday night. Also, we practiced pretty bad, and we qualified like 26. But me and the guys knew we had a good race car, and so we never got worked up about it. And it took us all night to get to the front, but we definitely had a car to do it, and so I'll definitely take a top 10 in my third nationwide start.
Now, of course, talking about qualifying and stuff, I mean, we hear a lot of drivers say that you qualify at the back, it's no big deal. Then you have some that just basically panic. What kind of attack do you take on the track when you qualify like that? Do you just start throwing everything at the car, or you just say, hey, it's going to be good, I'm not going to mess with it?
I think that if you're in a situation like I was where, I knew I had a good long run car, I was there in the spring, and, we knew we could pass cars, and we knew that we had a car that could drive up to the front, on a long run. You don't really worry about it too much. It's the times where you qualify in the back and you don't feel like your car is very good. That's when you start to panic, and of course there's some tracks, the track position is huge. And so, I think that qualifying is still, even though we have a really good setup for Richmond, and we have a really good program that going there. I think qualifying is still something we'd work on. We want to get ourselves a little bit further towards the front, qualify top 15. It just puts you in a better position, gives you, at least, less of a chance of getting caught up in something there in mid pack, and, just gives you a better opportunity, to get out front, lead laps, and just have a solid run. So I think, qualifying is important, and I definitely see the value in it. But at the same time, if you have a good race car and qualifying doesn't go the way it should, doesn't pay anything. Doesn't pay anything qualifying. So you got to run all laps, and you can't get worked up about qualifying. So you just put your head down and focus on the race.
Yeah, that makes sense. And the folks out there, we're talking to Ryan Reed. And Ryan, I want to ask you this real quick. You are driving for one of the best organizations in racing, not just NASCAR, Roush Fenway Racing. So you're over there getting to pick the brains of guys like Cousin Carl Edwards and Greg Biffle and stuff. Have you got to talk to these guys and learn any of their secrets yet?
Carl's been great. Carl's one of the first guys that kind of welcomed me to the organization, told me that any questions I ever have, come see him. And so, and Greg's been awesome too. Ricky, obviously coming from the Nationwide program last year, he's been awesome too. After the first Richmond race, he sort of did a really good job, and he critiques me of things I did right and things I did wrong. He's a really good one to lean on. He's a two-time back-to-back nationwide champion. So I think that he knows how to get around there in a nationwide car just as good as anybody or better. So it's just driving for Roush Fenway is a dream come true. And to have those guys to lean on and ask questions and critique your driving, it's priceless. So they give you really good race cars, and they're you just saw Roush has gone on a couple months here, and they struggled, and they recognized they were struggling, and they all worked their butts off to get back to victory lane. And you saw that I think all three Roush cars finished in the top 10 on Saturday night. So now Carl and Greg are going into the chase with a lot of momentum. So it's an organization that never quits. They work their butts off, and if they're not where they feel they need to be, which is winning races, they do whatever it takes to get there. So it's just really, like I said, dream come true to drive for them. And I think that it's definitely a place I can call home.
Now, of course, Ryan, talking about cousin Carl, we know that he's one of the type of guys that he's not afraid to help anybody out there if they need it. But now, if you being at Roush, who would you go to for, like, I don't know, your technical information, driving style? Would you rely on more on Carl or Greg Biffle or Stenhouse, or who would you go to like that? Because I know the nationwide cars, a lot of those guys, they have run a ton of them. Who would give you the most help in that?
I think that you just kind of go to them all. Like if Greg's in the shop one day and I'm sitting there next to him, I'll ask him. I actually lean a lot on Trevor Bain too. He's really, really good at talking to younger guys. He's a pretty young guy himself, so he understands what it's like to show up to a track for the first time, and the things that are going to really be stand out at you, your first couple laps there. So I think that's one of the biggest things is how to get around there fast, but each track has a different characteristic, and like Richmond, the turn two wall comes at you so fast, and it's nice to have the guys there to really preach that to you. Hey, watch out for turn two, you can get yourself in trouble, because it's each track is different, and also too, some as you can see, Greg's awesome at Michigan. So Greg, if I was headed to Michigan, Greg would be probably one of the first people I ask about it because he's so good there, and so each driver has probably their preference in tracks. Ricky won Iowa like 5 times, so I definitely go to him for tips on Iowa. So it just kind of depends, but they're all talented, and any single one of them would give you good advice. So I definitely try to listen up when they're around.
Ryan, do you have a favorite track?
Well, right now I got to say it's Richmond, but I went to Pocono in the ARCA car and had a lot of fun there. So I coming off of a good weekend like I just had, I really like Richmond, and unfortunately Nationwide doesn't get a Pocono because I had so much fun there. But pretty much, I can tell you I got my butt kicked at Bristol a couple weeks ago, and I'm not a real big fan of that place right now. But no, it's a really cool track, but I definitely had a learning curve going into Bristol, and so I actually really had a lot of fun there, just to make laps. But it was a long day at Bristol for me.
Now, Ryan, we also got to talk to now. Like I said earlier in the show, there's a lot of drivers that kind of touch us with the, for what they do. But now, you have something that's very near and dear to your heart, and of course a lot of the stuff that you want to raise awareness to, and that's actually diabetes and helping to stop diabetes. Won't you tell us a little bit about that and tell people how they can get involved in this and how they can help you with your cause?
Yeah, it's so awesome, the platform we have now, and I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes about 2.5 years ago, and it almost they actually told me when I was diagnosed I'd never be able to drive a race car again. So I know how devastating the disease can be, and I also know what an impact it has on the NASCAR community. So it's something that I felt was really important that we we take full advantage of our platform, and as NASCAR, you have a huge platform to spread a lot of awareness and do a lot of good. And I just really thought that I was blessed with the opportunity to drive for Roush Fenway in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. And so I just really felt like you got to pay forward and you got to do everything you can to help people out. And so that's what we did. And and the Drive to Stop Diabetes program has grown so much over the last couple of years. This year, it's his first year, but it's been amazing to see where it's at, and I can't wait to see what it turns into over the next couple of years.
Right, and there's a special kind of organization you like to promote, the JDRF. Do you want to tell us about that?
What's that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
You want to tell us about the JDRF organization?
Actually, we're working with the American Diabetes Association this year. I worked a lot with JDRF last year, and it was such a great opportunity to work with those folks, and it's a great organization. That this year we partnered up with the American Diabetes Association, they just with all, there's such a heavy prevalence of type 1 and type 2 diabetes in NASCAR. And it was really a great fit for American Diabetes Association to come in, and they really do a great job of spreading awareness on both sides. So, it's been so awesome to work with them this year, and it's been a great relationship, and I can say that it's a relationship that'll be there for years to come.
Well, now, Ryan, there's another thing we got to do for you, buddy. We got to make you, part of the millions and millions of fans that Burning Rubber has. So I'll tell you what, go ahead and tell us a little bit of contact info, buddy. What about Twitter and Facebook, and where can they check you out at?
Yeah, well, if you want to learn more about Drive to Stop Diabetes and how to get involved on there, or just learn about it and learn a bit about it's a really cool site. You got some interactive stuff, and you can learn a little about diabetes and learn how to get involved. It's called drivetostopdiabetes.org. And then also too, you can follow me on Facebook and Twitter. My Twitter handle is @DriverRyanReed. There's talk. I mean, if you want to get to know me and find out what I'm doing every day, and looks like drive race cars, follow me on Twitter.
No doubt, brother. Hey, I tell you what, we'll follow you, and we'll check you out. We'll do all that, and plus we'll put the word out, man, for your foundation. But now there's a little tradition we've got here, and of course you probably know. And, I know Andy's probably harassed you to do it before, and I'm going to also. But there's 3 famous words you always got to say before you leave the show. You got to scream it, make sure your neighbors or the guy driving next to you hears you. That way he'll know you're really, truly crazy like me and Andy are. But, you got to yell "Burning Rubber, baby," just as loud as you can.
Yeah, I look forward to this every time I'm on here. It's I usually try and do when I'm out in public so everyone around me can hear it. But, no, thank you guys for having me on. Wait, hold on. What do I say one more time? Just remind me.
Burning Rubber, baby.
All right. Burning Rubber, baby.
Woo! I tell you what, up-and-coming driver, folks, Ryan Reed. And I tell you what, get out there on Facebook and Twitter and follow him all over the place and watch him tear it up on the track. We're going to step out to another break. Andy needs to go to the little girl's room and eat. So we'll come back after these messages for some more Burning Rubber Radio.
Quit messing with my pizza.
You're listening to Burning Rubber Radio. Evidence that with enough money and a lot of BSing, almost anyone can have their own radio show. Now, back to Burning Rubber Radio.
And we are back from another exciting break. I tell you what, folks, people just don't understand how cool the break is on our show. It's just amazing. I would describe it. I wouldn't want to offend nobody, though.
Yeah, that's right, man. The stench coming from your chair over there explains everything, buddy.
I put Febreze on it.
Dan, who you got next, buddy?
Man, I'll tell you what. We got one of the hottest shoes in USAC midget racing right now. Not only is he the Illinois Midget Week POWRi 2013 champion, he's the Indiana Midget Week 2013 champion. I don't know how many races this cat has won this season so far. Man, it's hard to keep track. But one of the hottest young talents coming up right now, Mr. Christopher Bell.
Yeah, well, thank you very much.
Tell us a little bit about your racing and stuff like that, Chris.
Well, this year I've been pretty fortunate to be able to drive for Keith Kunz Motorsports in the full USAC midget schedule, and he actually debuted his non-wing sprint car for the first time in a couple of years and allowed me to get my feet wet in some non-wing sprint car stuff. And then just kind of filling in the open dates with some wing sprint car rides from various car owners.
That's awesome, man. Charles?
Well, I tell you what, Chris. Now, here's something me and Andy's got to talk about. Now, of course, we know dirt is for potatoes. That's about as much as we know about dirt. We've went to a few races, of course, Browntown Speedway. I've been to Lake Cumberland Speedway, just a few of them. Tell us, do you ever run the winged and the wingless, go out there and just pretty much just like take the wing off of it and do all that stuff too?
I've been pretty fortunate to drive a bunch of different cars, and I've been able to run the wing sprint cars and the non-wing sprint cars this year. And it's actually, they're the cars are quite a bit different. You can run the same frame, but you have to change front axles, and you really need to change rear cages to go from wing to non-wing. So it's not quite as easy as just taking my wings on and off.
Well, we kind of wondered that because we went, like I said, we was at Brownstown. We went up there and they were having a big race at some other track. Well, they got rained out and a bunch of guys showed up with the winged cars. And I did see a lot of front end change and shock change and wing change and stuff like that. Does it really change the dynamics of the car that much?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the biggest thing would probably be the front axle, just because with the wing cars you can run them so much tighter because you have the wing pulling the car to the left, and then if you were to just take the wings right off, you probably just tip over in a non-wing car. So you put a wider front axle for the non-wing to help stabilize the car a little bit more.
Do you have a preference what you like better, the wing or non-wing?
I actually prefer the wing racing a lot more myself.
What do you think about all the people complaining about the dangers of sprint cars here lately? What's your take on that?
I think it's just real bad timing. I mean, sprint car racing has been going around for so long. I mean, it just is a coincidence that this year we've had some really bad incidences, and I'm going to continue to run sprint cars for as long as I can, and I know Kyle Larson actually, he feels the same way, and so does Tony Stewart. And the guys that grew up around him they understand the risks, and I mean, there's risk in every kind of motorsports out there, so it's a risk we take if we strap in.
Exactly. I agree 100%. And anything can happen, right? It's just wrong place at the wrong time, like you said, bad timing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And let's see here. You mentioned Kyle Larson a little bit there, Chris. Tell us, I do believe you went and you beat him in the midget week, didn't you, or something like that? And I know Kyle Larson's about ready to step into a sprint cup ride in NASCAR. I mean, you guys are beating and banging. Tell us a little bit about racing with Kyle.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to get to run against Kyle, who probably is one of the best racers in the United States right now. I mean, it's a privilege to be able to be teammates with him with Keith Kunz, and we got to race a little bit during midget week. He was only there a couple of the nights, but it seemed like every time he was there, me and him were racing for the win. So that's pretty cool to be competitive and be able to race wheel to wheel with someone who's going to be a future star of NASCAR.
Well, now, Chris, talking about NASCAR and stuff and the move up and stuff, do you feel that that might be one of the things that you want to do fairly quickly, or would you like to stay in dirt a little while?
I mean, obviously NASCAR is kind of the ultimate dream goal of pretty much every racer out there, but I'm living my dream right now, getting to run sprint cars, and they're just probably the most fun. I can't say that they are the most fun things out there because I've never ran a stock car yet, but I have a hard time believing the stock cars are more fun to race than a sprint car. So even if I do get the chance to try the pavement stuff out, I'll definitely be a strong supporter of the sprint car racing.
Well, and of course, we hear that a lot, too, with a lot of the people that have a big dirt background. There's a lot of racers, they come up with just from asphalt. They've never been on dirt before. Then you got the guys that comes up from the dirt. Now, there's been a big debate, of course, which helps you more to learn. Now, what would you think, if given the fact that you had run asphalt and, dirt both, what would you say to some driver that wanted to get in, matter of fact, if they just said, well, hey, I want to start racing, I want to go to dirt, what would you tell them?
I think the dirt stuff is really good to help you teach car control. I mean, I think I've ran a couple pavement midget races this year, and it's definitely totally different than the dirt. But coming up from the dirt background, it teaches you how to control the car whenever the track doesn't have a lot of bite in it, and I think that'll translate well to the pavement stuff.
Well, of course, we see that a lot, too. Like you talked about earlier, Tony Stewart and some of them guys, when they've got a car that's sliding all over the track, it seems like they do have a little bit more control over it.
Yeah, correct.
Go ahead, Charles. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just going to ask him. I was going to say, Chris, now, what have you got coming up in your future? I know you're going to run the sprints and stuff this year. Any plans on maybe moving up to anything else or doing anything different, or are you just going to try to hang around with the sprints?
As of right now, my next year plans are just kind of do the same thing that I've done this year. I definitely love to get the opportunity to try my hands at a stock car, but haven't had any offers yet. So just gonna kind of wait and see and buy my time, and hopefully something will come up where I can get the opportunity in a pavement car.
Now, Chris, this is Dan. We've got a mutual friend that kind of connected us about a year and a half ago, right before Chili Bowl and little before that. But man, he makes you look good with your lids, and you know who I'm talking about, Mr. Noah Enos and Shell Shock. Tell us about some of them lids that he sends you.
Yeah, I've been pretty fortunate to get hooked up with Noah Enos and the Shell Shock deal. One of my sponsors and car owners from probably 2010 actually had a helmet done from Noah, and then I got to meet him through him, and we've kind of became buddies, and I'm pretty cool to be one of Shell Shock's factory drivers.
Wow. Man, that's awesome stuff. And let's see here. How about iRacing? Of course, this show here, Burning Rubber Radio, is brought to you by iRacing. I hear you may be an iRacer.
Yeah, I do run iRacing quite a bit. There's just a couple of the tracks that I like. I mean, coming from a dirt guy, I wish they really had dirt on there, but like I really love Iowa. That's a pretty cool track. You can get around the top there pretty good. And then Chicagoland's another fun one, and Bristol, you can't dislike Bristol.
You know, that's the truth, man. And Iowa, though, that turn 1, turn 2, right there in the middle of the turns, if you run the middle groove, and on iRacing, that's the only, I've never seen it in real life, but I still about lost all of my teeth hitting that bump between 1 and 2, man.
Yeah, it's pretty rough down there in 1 and 2.
Well, we're going to definitely extend to you the invitation to join the Burning Rubber Radio iRacing League. Of course, they're on iRacing. Everyone out there is invited to join our iRacing League, and that is running on Sunday about 5 p.m. Eastern time. And, brother, we'd love to see you out there because, see, I kicked Charles' ass this past week and Dan's. Oh, wait, we already said that, so I don't want to say it again. Whatever. And you're Chris, you're invited to come out there and run with us there at the Burning Rubber Radio iRacing League Sundays at 5 p.m. Eastern. And like I said a little earlier, I kicked Dan's ass this past week and Charles' ass this past week. And, man, I don't want to say you're welcome to come out there and get your ass kicked because then you'd run me over.
Well, thank you. Hopefully I'll be able to make it out one day.
All right, man. Well, let me tell you, brother, everyone that comes on the show has to do a little certain something that Kenny Wallace started. God, Charles, I guess he did that back in 2008, 2009 at Kentucky Speedway. We used to talking to Kenny Wallace. He grabbed the mic, the recorder, and he yelled, "Burning Rubber, baby!" And guess what? Now everyone has to do that before we'll let them off our radio show. Can you give us those 3 famous words, buddy?
Burning rubber, baby.
That is awesome, folks. Everyone with a big burning rubber, baby. And I tell you what, that was Chris Bell, folks. You can go check him out on Facebook and hopefully run in there at the iRacing League at Burning Rubber Radio. And guess what? Hang out because we're going to be right back, like it or not, after this.
These guys only shut up when their mouths are full of food, which means there's a lot of silence during the commercials. Here's more Burning Rubber.
Thanks for hanging around here on Burning Rubber Radio. It is that time. Charles, you smell that, buddy?
Yeah, I do, but I don't want to describe it.
Yeah, I know, because I'm slobbering here. Oh, my gosh. It's time for John Dix, the NASCAR chef. Big John Dix, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, guys. Burning rubber, baby.
Burning rubber, buddy.
How y'all doing tonight?
Man, if we was any better, we'd be twins. We got a new lineup here, buddy. We got Big Charles Robinson back here. We got Emily Gotti with us. And, of course, Dirty Dan Smith. What kind of good cooking you got for us, buddy?
Well, guys, I got something a little different, something we don't normally do. We're doing some hors d'oeuvres tonight, some hors d'oeuvres.
Woo, hors d'oeuvres.
I figure with all the football games, you know, we got college kicking in and pro kicking in, and then the races are going down to the wire. You know, I was at Atlanta a couple weeks ago cooking for Tony, and we had a good old time.
Man, real quick before you get into that, John, tell us, how was it cooking for Tony, man? Did he love your ribs again? I know. And how did Ryan like them?
Oh, yeah, Ryan came over there, and Tony Glover came over there. Tony said that he heard that I had ribs over there and had to come and eat them. And even Greg Biffle snuck over there and got a plate.
Greg Biffle? What's he doing over there? I guess him and Tony are buddies.
Yeah, well, they were all the guys were joking. They said, he better not win tonight after eating your ribs. We'll be really mad.
Yeah, no doubt. What, was Smoke even there? I know his legs broke.
No, he wasn't there. I think this last weekend, Richmond was the first time he's been to the race, but no, he wasn't there. I did one thing, Andy, that I learned. It's a young man's job. They asked me to help run tires after we cooked during the race, and about wore me out.
I bet. All right, well, folks out there, just so you know, John Dix, the NASCAR chef, he's going to be with Burning Rubber Radio at the Talladega Speedway for the fall race at Talladega. Hey, John, you got to call Stuart Haas and tell them you're going to be there to cook them ribs because I want some.
All right, yeah, we can do that. I can bring some ribs there. But tonight, guys, we have some cheddar shrimp nachos.
Hmm.
Some little hors d'oeuvres. And, Andy, since you're down in Florida, you can get some good shrimp for everybody.
That's right. That's the truth, brother. Let's hear about it.
Okay, we're going to start with 3/4 pound of deveined, peeled, cooked shrimp, and you want to chop them up in small little pieces. 1.5 cup of shredded cheddar cheese, 1 can of chopped green chilies. You want to drain them. 3/4 cup of chopped green onions. We're going to add 1/4 cup of sliced ripe olives. Now that's optional. Some people like olives and some don't. And make sure you drain them. And 1/2 cup of mayonnaise, 1/4 teaspoon of cumin, and 48 tortilla chip scoops. You know, the little tortilla chips that's used for the heavy scooping.
Oh yeah.
And what we're gonna do in a large bowl, you want to combine the shrimp, cheese, chilies, onions, and the olives, and then add the mayonnaise in the cumin, and then add the shrimp in. You want to fold it over real slow. You don't want to tear it all apart, even though it is cut in little pieces. And then what you're going to do is you're going to drop a little teaspoon into each tortilla scoop. All right, you're going to place it on an ungreased baking sheet and bake at 350 for about 5 to 10 minutes, really just to get it warm and just melt the cheese and serve them warm. And it yields about 4 dozen, or, unless Andy and I get there first, you guys you might get some.
That's the truth, John. That sounds wonderful, man. Something good for watching football. And I tell you what, folks, if you got any questions for John Dix, the NASCAR chef, you can always drop a line to burning.rubber@hotmail.com. That is burning.rubber@hotmail.com. And John, if you can, man, try to post that stuff up on the Burning Rubber Radio Facebook page, brother.
Yeah, got you, buddy.
All right, John, thanks, man. We're going to catch up with you again next week for another one of your wonderful, good, fattening, we don't care recipes. And you have a good week, John. We'll talk to you next time.
Okay, guys. Burning rubber, baby.
Burning rubber, baby. Folks, hang out. We're going to be right back with more Burning Rubber.
You're listening to Burning Rubber Radio. And now a former law enforcement officer guy that has a faster draw than Sheriff Quick Draw McGraw. At least that's what all of his ex-girlfriends told us.
Not only that, but you're a big bully, too.
Andy DeLay and the crew.
You're hanging out with the Dirty Bunch here at Burning Rubber Radio, except Emily, she's not dirty. Anyway, you are hanging out. We're having a good time here. Fastest 60 minutes in motorsports. It's time for the round table. Grab a beer, pull up a seat, because we're going to talk NASCAR, whatever the heck you want to talk about. And there's a bunch to talk about this week in NASCAR. Boys and girls, I'm going to go ahead and kick this thing off. And real quick, let's talk about, and I don't know what everyone's going to talk about, but I got to talk about this. NASCAR is not being even-handed handing out penalties. What the hell was that restart with Carl Edwards, like 4 freaking car lengths in front of Paul Menard on the restart at Richmond, and it even called it on TV. NASCAR's not going to like this, and he jumped the start. Now wait a second, that is total BS, NASCAR. Charles, do you have anything to say about that?
I've heard this whining about this restart stuff about all year. I really don't think that there's a problem. I think that if you've got a guy that's taken off and a guy's fell asleep, guess what? He just got outran. As long as the leader's the first one across the start-finish line, then after that, let them sort it out.
All right, I see that. And Emily, what are you thinking?
I kind of agree with Charles there. He either didn't do something right, or like he said, he was sleeping and he lost out.
So you think that Paul Menard was basically asleep at the wheel?
From what I've heard, I actually didn't get to watch the race. I was at Eldora the whole weekend, but from everybody's opinion I've talked to and everything I've read and heard, yeah, I'm thinking so.
All right, and Dan?
Well, that was the second restart of the weekend. It happened in the nationwide race too, and of course we heard that it had to do with contact between Menard and Edwards in the Cup race, and that was the reason that NASCAR made a no call during the race. But it's major inconsistency, man. This has happened how many times this season with 5-time and some other instances, and it's pretty inconsistent on my part, Andy.
I agree with you, Dan. NASCAR, you do it. You got your head together on a lot of things like Eldora, great idea. But then again, sometimes I look at things and go, what in the heck are you all doing? But hey, you're the ones, that's your business. You're the ones that fill the seats or kick people out of the seats because the show sucks. I didn't say it sucks, but come on, man. Anyway, Charles, what you got to talk about, buddy?
Well, of course, we've got to talk about the controversy, not the restarts. All I know is that as soon as I watched the race, as soon as Clint Boyer spun out, everybody was jumping up and down saying he did it on purpose. Now, granted, it looked kind of, bad. We've seen that happen before in the past. NASCAR never done anything about it. But there was buzz that went across the radio, and that was the team orders to help Martin Truex get into the chase and be the ultimate payback to Jeff Gordon to knock him out of the chase by 1 point. So, what do you think?
If you're asking me, Charles, why knock Gordon out of, why be cheap like that? I personally agree. It was team orders. I mean, it's blatant. That's what it was. It was team orders. Michael Waltrip Racing. But come on, man. Junior did that in 2004, and NASCAR got all bent out of shape over it and threatened him. You don't hear a thing about it here. Emily?
I was just talking about this today with a couple of friends, and all I gotta say is, don't hate the player, hate the game.
Oh
I love it.
Dan, you're going to have a hard time backing that up.
Oh, I'm not even going to back it up because I agree 100%. This has been my beef for so long, man. This is nothing new. This has been going on ever since the invention of the multi-car concept that was the savior of the sport, and it's nothing new. I have to agree with Little Miss Dangerous. Don't hate the player, hate the game. But like I said, where was all the outcry when the Goon pulled this in 2004? Where was the outcry where the Messiah, the number 3, on the radio said they needed a caution? I'm working on it. This is nothing new. All this outrage towards Boyer and MWR is really uncalled for. It's been part of the game for how long now? You know what I mean? So, Little Miss Dangerous nailed it right there, man. Don't hate the player, hate the game. That's what I've got to say about it. See?
Well, here's what I got to look at too, guys. Jeff Gordon has not performed all year. Okay,
true.
He hinged his total chase hopes on winning one race.
That's a fact.
And that was Richmond. He started out with the pole. He started out running good. Did they miss the setup? Of course they did. You got guys like Truex who have already run a race and have performed all year long. You got Clint Boyer, who's been consistently performing at NWR. And matter of fact, the 55 car had a victory under its belt this year too. So obviously they've got their stuff together. And given the circumstances, I have no problem if Boyer even did spin out and do that on purpose, because 2 cars that deserve to be in the chase are in the chase. And that's all I've got to say on that.
Emily, what you got?
All right, well, it's not really a NASCAR controversy. Like I said, I was at Eldora all week. And by the way, if Tony Stewart is listening to this right now, we need some dang cell phone service at Eldora Speedway. I don't know about anybody else, but I did not get anything there all weekend. So, yeah, like I said, Tony, you need to put a new tower in or something. I don't know. But I was sitting in class today, and our teacher asked us what all we did this weekend, and pretty much everybody went to Eldora. And there was a kid sitting there, and he just started in just making fun of anybody that has anything to do with circle track. And I'm just tired of all these grandstand racers, I guess. What do you think?
If you ask, well, first off, so folks don't think you're in high school or something, tell folks what you're doing when you talk about you were in class.
Oh, I go to University of Northwestern Ohio, so I'm at a racing school, and it just kind of strikes me as odd that someone wants to talk crap about any form of racing at a racing school.
You're right, grandstand racers, and I can tell you from my view, being in media, fringe media, whatever you want to call us, we got folks, grandstand racers, want to gripe at us, and I love it when they do that because we make all kinds of money like nothing, and I know what you're saying. You're like, y'all shut up if you don't know what you're talking about. Really, understand what you're talking about before you open your mouth, because you sound like an idiot. Okay, the hate mail goes to burning.rubber@hotmail.com under Charles Robinson's name. Charles?
Well, I'm not the hater, okay? So we got that figured out. I'm just telling you folks, we watch racing, we see it. Social media has turned racing into I don't know what. It's more like a drama now than it used to be years ago, where it was about the racers. If you remember, one of my favorite drivers, Kurt Busch, has lived that. He's been been out there racing, NASCAR champion, won a ton of races, but he's always, the negative is brought out to him. Okay, it needs to stop. NASCAR, if you want to get people back in the fans, quit making it like a reality show on TV. If you
Totally agree with that, Charles, 100%. Hey, if you looked at that 78 car, we know that Kurt Kubu is not going to be in it next year. But, dude, he's running that thing right up front. He doesn't give up. Dan?
See, man, you set me up here, buddy. You set me up, man. You're like the Swami. You like to press my buttons, and you pressed a big one here. I'm going to tell you what. I'm not even going to generate any hate mail from the fans out there, because I'm not even going to say anything about them right now. But what I am going to say is this, and we touched on this a little bit in my rant last week. True or false, we're not NASCAR media. We're what you would call fringe media. And here's the thing, man, is the fans out there are getting so much information from so many different sources, and the sources that they get their information from, in one instance, their opinion, in another instance, their NASCAR media, depending on what the situation is and what they're being called out for. But there is so much misinformation out there it's opinion that's being reported as fact, and it's doing major damage at the NASCAR level, man, because people, the average fan doesn't know how to distinguish between what is fact and what is somebody's opinion. And Charles, you are exactly right. The Kubu situation last year is a perfect example. The Jerry Punch situation is not what was reported. That's not what happened. That is not what happened. And still, a year and a half later, we're hearing about how he cussed out Jerry Punch. That's not even a fact. That is total fiction. That is manufactured hype. Then you have, the instance of him and Pockrass on pit road. That's total BS. That is total BS. Pockrass went looking for a fight and found one.
Pockrass is an idiot, man.
Dude, Pockrass, man, I would love to run into Pockrass at a track and give him a piece of my mind. The problem is I'd never be allowed back, but is it a real big loss? But anyway, here's the deal. If you're going to talk about this sport, then talk about facts. Don't talk about manufactured hype. I'm going to shut up now, Andy, before I get in some real trouble here. So back to you, buddy.
Well, a lot of people, Dan, also, too, you got to add, is a lot of people didn't see the 15 minutes or so that he was sitting there waiting on the TV station to get their acting gear and go to a commercial break, and ended up, upsetting a driver who had a great day and everything was going good, and he had a problem, and they didn't want to focus on the fact that he had that car up there running good and he was doing awesome as always. And all of a sudden, guess what? Hey, what about your wreck and your incident and this and this and that? Well, people sick of that. I am.
Oh, I agree 100%, Charles. It wasn't even Jerry Punch he was talking to. He was talking to the cameraman. Can you get the damn camera out of my face? Well, that's not the words he used, but, to clean it up, can you get the damn camera out of my face till we're ready to go live? That was all it was. What about Marty Smith chasing him through the pits, acting like an idiot, causing more controversy? It is what it is, man. It's manufactured drama. It is what it is, man. But at any rate, Andy, I believe we got to get ready to get out of here and go to break. So I'm going to toss it back to you, brother.
Yeah, that's right, folks. We're going to go to break real quick. Dan, we got just about a minute left. Tell those folks about those rants you do real quick.
On the Burning Rubber Radio Facebook page, every Thursday, Dirty Dan puts out a rant. I don't know what the topic could be from week to week. I'm really not sure what it's going to be this week, but look for those every Thursday on the Burning Rubber Radio Facebook page, and along with Dirty Dan's What's Up Wrap Up, where we concentrate on the National Dirt Touring Series. But check out the Burning Rubber Radio Facebook page. We got live video chats. We got a lot of cool stuff going on there. But other than that, man, we got to get out of here, and we'll be back right after this short break.
You're listening to Burning Rubber Radio. Now back to the guy that's a 4-time champion of the NORCA Racing League. Oh, that's nice, Andy. You think that's going to impress the ladies?
Oh, Jesus, it impressed the hell out of me.
Here's the BRR crew.
That's right, Burning Rubber Radio. Here we are, folks, and thanks for hanging out with us for this whole hour here. It's the end of the show, Charles. But, man, I am so glad that you are back with us, Charles.
Well, I'm glad to be back because, like I said, somebody's going to bring some talent into this show.
It wasn't when you were here, that's for sure. And the talent is who I'm fixing to talk to, Emily Gade. Emily, thank you very much for co-hosting here on Burning Rubber Radio.
I'm glad to be here and maybe teach you a thing or two about dirt.
Dirt? Yes, that's where we grow potatoes. I'm just kidding. Emily, where are you racing at next?
I'm actually done for the season. My dad just took my car home Sunday morning, so making plans for 2014.
So are you still going to be, are you going to still be on the dirt, or what's your plan?
Oh, yeah, I'm still going to be on the dirt. Same thing as last year, new car, new engine program, and adding Eldora to our schedule full time.
That is so awesome, folks. Emily Gotti, you can remember in about 5 years. Oh yeah, where did I hear of her? No, you didn't see her at your short track. You heard her right here on Burning Rubber Radio, when she's the next Sprint Cup queen. Anyway, Dan, you got anything?
Hi, man. I don't have a whole lot besides patronize our sponsor, Shell Shock Custom Helmets. You know the rest of them, Andy. That bed bug service, man, that you make rich with your nasty ass in your bed all the time. They're at your house, I think, every other day, aren't they?
Thanks a lot, Dan. Yeah, that's Bed Bug Detection Services down here in Tampa, Florida, folks. We'll go anywhere if you have bed bugs and they're nasty, and we'll detect for you and help you out. 727-455-8139. Give us a call. We'll get out there. Anyway, I want to thank our guests this evening, Ryan Reed, Christopher Bell, both of you guys. Best stuff that there is. And also, folks, we want to let you know, get out there to the Burning Rubber Radio Facebook page. Put it in capital letters. I want to go iRacing. As long as you're not a current iRacing customer, I'm going to give you, the first person, 3 free months of iRacing service. And we're going to be doing more of that. We got more giveaways. Keep an eye on the Burning Rubber Radio Facebook page, because we're going to be giving away T-shirts. We're going to be giving away all kinds of stuff. And also, folks, don't forget, if you're an iRacer right now, don't fret. You can go to iRacing.com, go to the league site, and join the Burning Rubber Radio iRacing League. And we race on Sundays, 5 p.m. Eastern. We are going to be giving away all kinds of freebies on that. So, folks, thank you for hanging out with us. It's Andy DeLay with the rest of the screw crew yelling, "Burning Rubber, baby!"
Burning Rubber Radio is a copyrighted production of the PerformanceMotorsportsNetwork.com, a division of the Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated. This program may not be rebroadcast, replicated, or saved in any media without the explicit permission of PMN. Check out our Facebook page, facebook.com/burning-rubber-radio, or go to the PerformanceMotorsportsNetwork.com website and look for our landing page there. The opinions expressed on this program are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect those of the management and ownership of either the Performance Motorsports Network or the Scorpion Radio Group, or those of our advertisers and marketing partners. Be listening next week as we munch through 4 or 5 large pieces, half the salad bar, and at least a case of chilled adult beverages.
Hey there!
Huh?
What about the guests and the motorsports coverage and all the other cool stuff they do?
Oh, yeah, well.
Now, come on now.
And they do one hell of a show.
Okay.
For Burning Rubber Radio, I'm Cougar Michael.
Burning rubber, baby!